Welcome to Blueprints for Brilliance Coaching Insights, a podcast by coaches for coaches. Our guests share their hard-won wisdom to help you grow your coaching business and create a life of success. So get ready to unlock the blueprints to your success. Welcome, everyone, to our newest episode of Blueprints for Brilliance. I am very excited to introduce you to Jennifer Ragazzo. She is a functional wellness coach, and she's going to tell us a little bit about how she does that and who she is. Thank you for joining me today, Jennifer. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about how you became a functional wellness coach. I know you've had a long journey, and I'm sure there were twists and turns and a story possibly behind what inspired you.
Well, in the vein of keeping it really short, I stepped into the whole field of coaching after, I would say, over a decade of my own health journey. So this is not my first career. I have a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in education, and I taught elementary school for 6 years. And then I had stepped away from teaching for a period of time when I had babies and little kids. And during that period of time in my life, there was just a whole bunch of different challenges and health challenges going on with me personally, as well as people in my family. And a whole decade prior to that, I had been walking through a season of infertility, endometriosis, chronic migraines, irritable bowel, adult acne, like all of these different things. And I didn't know quite what to do with all of that, but I'm a seeker and I'm somebody who is a critical thinker. And I always want to understand the why behind anything. So in my journeying through all of those different, I would say divine call-ups, so to speak, in my life, I was going through this period after some big things had happened in my family, and I was reflecting on them a lot. And I was a runner at the time, and I was praying and asking God to reveal to me, what do I do with all of this? I have so much knowledge, so much understanding of health and wellness at this point, and I have been challenging the narrative that a lot of the narratives that are fed to us in allopathic medicine, and again, really seeing healing very differently. God had given me the ability to get down to the root. And at the time, I still didn't understand that I still wasn't getting to the root, but I understood that a pill for an ill was not the answer to overall health and wellness. In my years of running and praying and asking, one day I happened to be at a family party, and my husband's cousin was mentioning to me that she went back to school for something called health coaching, and I had never heard of it ever. And when she shared with me what she was doing, and I looked up where she went online, I thought, oh my gosh, this is a thing. Like, I could actually take my gift in teaching, my love of human psychology and the mind, and all of my knowledge that I've had, and help other people, like offer people hope and be a guiding light for them. In my years of trying to really navigate my own health journey, it was me piecing it all together. I did find people along the way that helped me, but when I really understood what that health coaching was a thing, I thought, man, this is awesome. I could actually be that one-stop shop for someone, not necessarily like I do all the things, but I could be that person to help coach them through their journey and help them get at least further along on their journey and towards their goal. So I went back to school for integrative nutrition. Very quickly, that wasn't enough for me because it was still so basic. And so far as the education, I knew all of those things. I was already unofficially helping others and coaching them through those things. So I started my business immediately, and people would come to me with challenges that I wanted to understand more about. So functional medicine was just really new to the scene and being brought to coaches. And so I started a program that is now the School of Applied Functional Medicine. It's online. And I started that program, and I just gobbled up every little thing I learned. And it not only profoundly changed my life, it also helped me to really be able to help people at a different level. I began bringing functional medicine into my coaching, again, as a coach, not as a practitioner. Never, ever has it been my job to diagnose or to treat. That's not my scope of practice, but I can educate, I can shine light, and then use the art of coaching in that. So I started doing that. And I just honestly have never, ever stopped in my learning and my about wellness, which is all of us. It's everything. It's mind, body, spirit. So my coaching today looks vastly different than it did 12 years ago, but that's simply because I have continued to gain wisdom, to gain understanding about wellness and what that is. And I learn best not by studying in a book. That's always helpful, but from every single person that sits before me, and every single client has been my teacher. So that is how I ended up being a coach.
I love that. Wow. You certainly have been through a lot, haven't you?
I have, and I'm grateful for all of it, because I wouldn't be able to do what I do today if I hadn't walked through all those things. One of the things about me that I value very much is that I'm somebody that walks my talk. It's just how God wired me. And I have a lot of integrity. So I do not ask somebody else ever to do something that I haven't challenged myself with, explored myself. And again, that's why my clients have been my best teachers, because when they bring forth something to me and I feel that a little bit of uncomfortableness in myself, like, ooh, Jen, are you actually doing what you are inviting them to do, or what you see that they may need to step into? That always convicts me to do my own work, because I
Yeah.
believe that energy is very powerful in coaching.
Yes. I'm so glad that you became a coach because people need that help just like you needed that help.
Oh,
And who
absolutely.
better to do that, right, than somebody who's already been through it?
Oh my gosh, yes. And over the years of being a coach myself, I have had many coaches myself. And I mean, it's very, as you know, because you're a coach and you have this whole podcast that speaks to coaches, every good coach needs a good coach.
Absolutely. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about is there a commonality between the people that you work with? Are they typically in education, or are they women at home? Are they men who are overly stressed at work? Kind of give us an idea if you have an ideal client, so to speak.
Sure, sure. I would say that the ideal client is the client that is ready to be coached, the person that is coachable. And what that really means is somebody who humbly is coming forth and saying, I need help. I don't know what that looks like. I am ready to take action. I'm feeling all the resistance. I know that there's blocks here, but I'm also willing to dig into it. And it's not a race. There's no protocol that I put anybody through. I meet every single person where they're at. But the defining characteristic that really helps me to help somebody else is having somebody who is willing to humbly take action and to look at their stuff and to say, okay, I see where there's pain and I see where there are some solutions, and I'm willing to take responsibility. I'm not looking at you or anybody else to fix me. I know that I have to do the work. I'm going to take your hands. I'm going to receive the education that you are providing for me and look at my choices, but I'm going to own them. And I'm going to take a step and then another step and another step. So, that being said, the majority of the clients that land here on my runway, especially today, are women, usually women around midlife. And the reason for that being is that this is a season where perhaps some of our roles are shifting and changing, like mothering. You and I were talking, we have children at similar ages. They're leaving the home, they're stepping out into adulthood. We may have more space to really feel our pain. We might have more space on our calendar to even address ourselves. And I'm not saying that it isn't important in your 20s and 30s. I have had plenty of clients in their 20s and their 30s, and they actually really love working with women at the younger stages too, because the younger you are, honestly, the easier it is to turn the ship around, only because we're not driving those habits even deeper. We're carving out new neural pathways that aren't, and changing and dissolving some old neural behaviors that aren't so deeply grooved. But the midlife really seems to be a time where women are feeling their pain, and a lot of other things are happening too. Our hormones, hormones play a big role in how we feel mentally, physically, emotionally, right? Things get louder, and they get louder, and it's actually quite beautiful, because in the heightened volume of our pain, thanks to, again, declining hormones, we become more stress sensitive. And I look at every single thing, every single symptom that shows up for us in our physical body as being a love note from our body, a love note from the divine, just inviting us to pause and say, why is this here? What is going on? What do I need more of? What do I need less of? And is there a healing environment that I'm being invited to look at? It's humbling. It can be very humbling for women, especially at this stage where they're like, why has it worked for me in the past and nothing is working for me right now? And I feel so hopeless, but there's always hope. That I have such a passion for helping women through this, because we have the opportunity to not step into what historically we've joked around about, like midlife crises. It's not at all. It is this midlife call up. It's this awesome, awesome, awesome opportunity to take all the wisdom that we have gained through walking through life up until now, and take that and really up level it, like live the rest of our lives living our best life.
I
So I
love
get
that.
with that.
Yeah, and I can totally relate to all of those things.
Oh,
There's all kinds of things, like you said, when you get to a certain
yeah,
age that are happening with women physically,
yeah.
mentally, emotionally, but we
Mhm.
do, like you said, have a lot of knowledge. We've
We
done
do.
a lot of things. We've overcome a lot of things to get where we are, but sometimes, when your tasks are slowing down a little bit and giving you a little separation, sometimes that's a really hard place for women to be.
Oh, it is a very hard place, because it invites us to take a very hard, honest look at our life and what is working, is not working, what can come with us and what cannot come with us, right? And change can really challenge us, and it can be hard. And having somebody to guide that shift forward for you and to walk it with you, oh my goodness, that's transformative. It's such a blessing to have that for that short period of time in your life. And what you learn in a coaching relationship of any sort, the goal really is to take that knowledge, that education, that transformation that occurs during that period of time when you're working with a coach and take it forward for the rest of your life. That's my goal with every one of my clients. And I say that to them. I'm here for this period of time, for this season, to help you to really create that transformation within you and for you to also feel very empowered with education and knowledge. You want to learn yourself, right? We need to learn who we are. And a lot of us haven't taken the time in a very concentrated, intentional manner to learn who we are up until now. It's the up until now. And perhaps it's just because we're drowning in the busyness of life, careers and child rearing and wifing and trying to do all of the things, seeking and learning. But again, this season of midlife is just this beautiful forum for us to take that step back and say, let's take all the wisdom, like you said, let's really pull it together and use it for the greatest and highest good of ourselves moving forward.
Yeah, I love that. So tell me a little bit about how you work with your clients. Are there specific
Mhm.
modalities that you utilize to help women get through this time?
Sure. I over a decade, again, over a decade of working with women, and in the first, I'd say like 8 years, 7, 8 years, just really heavily focusing on health as being physical, which it's not just physical at all. But I have certifications in naturopathy and applied functional medicine and integrative nutrition, and then different things and just quantum coaching and all of that. And what I have really come to learn in coaching is that every single, and or in health coaching, is that everything is interconnected. Everything. So the thoughts in our mind affect our physiology. Our physiology can also affect our emotions. What we're feeding our soul or not feeding our soul has a profound impact on everything else in our well-being. So the way that I work today is very integrative in that we're dumping out all the puzzle pieces on the table and we're moving them around and we're taking a look at where are we as a unique being and where are the areas that need tending to. So the method that I really came up with that works very well, especially in my group program. So I have a group program called the Vibrant Rise Functional Wellness Collective. I have developed a system, a curriculum where we're taking a look at the foundations of functional wellness and that they're like the building blocks of your house. This here, our body, our being, this is the house that we have to live in while we walk through this earthly existence. And when we have symptoms, whatever the symptoms are, whether the symptoms are anxiety, chronic migraines, irritable bowel syndrome, pain in your left toe, or apathy and discontent with your life, whatever those symptoms are, great. Well, those are how the body is getting our attention. It's like, hey, pay attention to me. I want you to take a look at where there's cracks in your foundation. So we go underneath the symptoms and we look for breakdown in function. And I teach women how to do that. Sometimes we'll do it and we'll utilize testing like functional tests, whether that's stool test or blood work or hair tissue mineral analysis test. We use that sometimes, right? We don't always need to though. We'll look for where's the breakdown in function. So maybe we have weak digestion, we have poor metabolic health, dysregulated blood sugar, our cellular metabolism isn't great. Okay, so you just look for the breakdown in function. We don't stop there. So we identify because the symptoms are just an expression. That's just a expression of the breakdown in function. So then we go underneath the breakdown in function and we look at all those building blocks, the functional building blocks that are necessary for every single human to have really well supported and very solid. There is bioindividuality within every one of them. Like for instance, the first one that we will take a look at that is a need for every single human is to nourish the body with whole food, nutrient rich, anti inflammatory foods. Great. I mean, God designed that for us, right? There's great space there because for you, you might thrive on more animal protein than me. You might thrive on root vegetables, where root vegetables, well, I don't know, they make me feel inflamed. Okay, so we have to figure that out. But I teach my clients how to super sleuth that. I can't tell that to anybody because that's personal, not prescriptive, right? I'm not prescriptive at all. That's something that over the years of me doing this and really coming to understand the human body and understand other people really well, I don't put people into protocols. There's no boxes. I teach them. Here's what we all need, and here's how to figure it out for yourself. And at first for women, they're like, oh, but they really, really, really start to feel very empowered because there's so much noise in the health and wellness space right now. And we could all sit and Google and scroll on Instagram all day long. And all of a sudden you're overwhelmed and you're like, oh my gosh, there's 10 different diets that everybody says are the best diet. And now I don't know where to start. And therefore I'm going to pull into my little shell and just sit here in the corner and, I don't know, eat Doritos and ice cream because I feel so defeated. So we move through that, and I teach gut health and nervous system regulation and emotional regulation and fueling your soul, and what does that look like. So and movement and breath and sleep. So all of those are areas that are really important, and if there's cracks in any of those areas, we of course are going to have a breakdown of function, which will lead to symptoms. So it works really, really well. In my group program, I have 2 different levels. So women can walk through the program and they can go through the curriculum and then come to our group calls, and there's a lot of self-assessment and they make amazing progress. Some want to level it up a little bit more and they want to bring in a little one-on-one with me, my eyes on their blood work. Perhaps they want to do something like a hair tissue mineral analysis, or they want to just bring something that's showing up for them one-on-one to me. Great, they can choose that level as well. And then my top tier in my coaching would be just I call it my Vibrant Rise Functional Wellness Intensive. And that's the woman who says, okay, I want all of that too, but I really, really desire and I need just customization. I want your eyes on me, Jen. I want to dump it all out. And when we dump it all out, again, I meet people where they are. It is personal, not prescriptive. And we take a look. If you are in a very unhappy marriage and you're not using your voice and you're chronically people pleasing, we can take all the supplements we want and eat all the perfect food. You will stay inflamed. If you are not honoring who you are as a unique creation of our creator, you're not honoring your unique human design, which is God's design, yeah, you're going to be out of alignment, and your gut is going to speak, or your adrenals are going to, or your thyroid are going to say, hey, psst, I'm going to keep you really fatigued, not literally, but because I love you that much. And I really, really want for you to be living as you've been created to live. So that's the way that I've broken it all down. And I would say that is my system. It's fluid, it's flexible, it's very bio-individual, and it's very customized, but it is a system because it works, because this is how we're designed, and we are designed to heal.
I love that. Wow. That is a lot. So tell us maybe a little bit about one of your clients. You don't have to give us a name, but how they were when they came to you and then how they were when they left your program.
Sure. I have one in particular that's on the top of my mind because her and I just wrapped up our coaching together, and we coached together for years. And she came to me as a referral from a friend who had done some work with me because she had a bacterial infection called H. pylori that wouldn't go away. She had treated it allopathically multiple times and it just kept coming back. And she was in so much agonizing pain she couldn't eat. And very type A, running a business of her own. Her children had just left the home in college and young adults, and she's just stuck, honestly, in that fight or flight, go, 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 go mode. So, of course, her body couldn't heal. And so, in our work together, it wasn't about just taking the antimicrobials to knock out the bacterial infection in her stomach. We did it, and it would come right back, and it would come right back. So what we did was we went deeper and more expansive in what else was going on. And we really started to unpack where it was coming from, that her beliefs that led to her thinking, I have to make everybody else happy and not take care of myself. I can't speak up and use my voice. I don't even know what it looks like to find rest and what rest is for me. Her relationship with God was for her at the time, it was very prescriptive. God was in a box. She didn't know what it was to surrender, to submit, to find rest with God. And so we dug into all of these different things. And then in the meantime, I have my eyes on all things, especially when I'm working with my clients and when I'm working with them one-on-one too, and I really have that space. I'm watching. I'll bring in some mineral support because minerals will deplete really quickly under stress, really quickly. And minerals are the spark plugs of life. They're also very calming. So when we're really depleted in minerals, think things like magnesium, right? Zinc, sodium, are some of our B vitamins. They deplete really quickly when we're under stress and when we're running. And so this client was running and running and running and running and running. Oh, and she would hit the gym and go take a spin class and not understand why she was gaining weight. And her body was getting her to slow down. Just slow down. Please listen. And her creator was going, I love you so much that, you know what, that H. pylori right now, it's not going to go away. You're going to have that belly pain because you're not listening to the things that are more important. And so in our work together, we really, she, not me, I just was a guide. I was coaching. Coaching is reflective inquiry. You're asking questions. I firmly believe that every person has the answers within themselves. She would start to find these answers for herself. And she started to challenge these narratives that she had to be everything for everybody, that she wasn't worthy of loving on and tending to. She started to put up healthy boundaries. She started to say no. She was saying yes to everything. She started to step back and really ask God, what do you want for me? Not me putting it on my calendar because I feel I have to based on some limiting beliefs and conditioning from childhood. And her body started to really heal. The H. pylori went away and stayed away. And she found joy. She dropped weight effortlessly with less hours at the gym, and learned how to not only eat and nourish her body and not feed her emotions, but digest the food. We can eat healthy food, but if we're not digesting, it doesn't matter that much, right? And then you're not going to digest it though if you're not loving yourself well. Right? The healthy thoughts, like if we're speaking negative to ourselves, our words, abracadabra, our words are our wand. So she really was just such a beautiful, for me, a beautiful example of true healing and how interconnected the human body is. We are created so intricately and beautifully. So it's not like when you dump out all the puzzle pieces and you see all these different things that we have like 35 different problems that we now need to have 35 different solutions for. It really isn't. It's again going down to those foundations. You look for the cracks and you come in and you artistically and strategically support a little here, a little here, a little here, and you trust that all of that is going to have an effect on everything else. Why does H. pylori, for instance, go away with the same exact herbal antimicrobials for one person and not for the other? Well, has to do with the other things that are going on for that person and why the body is holding on to something. So she today, her whole life is different. She's happy, she's joyous, she feels comfortable in not only her physical skin, but she knows who she is and she values that. And she's living life with vibrancy, which is what every woman does, every human deserves to live with.
Absolutely. Wow, that's quite something. So
Yeah.
if people want your help, if they feel like they're in a place and they need some wellness coaching, running at the gym every day and then pushing harder and harder isn't making it happen, how can they reach out to you?
Sure. Well, my website is my name. It's jenniferragazzo.com. So all of the information about my programs and how to reach out to me is there. You can join my newsletter. You can shoot me an email. I was very active on Instagram and I intentionally took a sabbatical. So I'm preparing to step back into it soon. But in June, in a lot of me bringing to God and reflecting on some things that were showing up in my own life, I went in obediently to the take a step back, trust. So I'm not on Instagram right now, but you can still find my account and I will be very shortly if you want to follow me there. If you're a social media person, I just needed to personally quiet the noise so that I could really hear and again, walk my own talk and then come forward in this whole health and wellness space a little bit differently because it, as I said earlier, it's getting very noisy and I never want to be part of the noise. I want to be part of the solution to help people with hope to heal. So yes, and I don't know when this podcast is airing, but I am also launching my own podcast called The Daily Surrender.
Fantastic. So, last question for you is if you could provide one tip to make the world a better place, what would that be?
Mm, I encourage every single person to really get to know yourself and embrace you as a unique divine creation. There is no other you. So there is no room for shitting yourself or looking out to somebody else to define who you are. You are already defined. You are worthy. You are validated. You are created on purpose for a purpose. So learning to embrace that and make yourself right, not wrong, and then bring forth your own uniqueness into this world. And doing that will free you. It will free you and it will bless this world.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining me, Jennifer, and sharing all of your knowledge, your tips, and how much you're helping people in the world. So, thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on Blueprints for Brilliance Coaching Insights. We hope you're leaving this episode with inspiration to take your coaching business and your life to the next level. If you found value in this episode, we would love it if you would subscribe and share it with someone else who you think might benefit from hearing it. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next episode.